Well, I need to welcome you back, and we'll see what the big story for today. We're talking about governance, especially after the court cases are over. They were placing special emphasis on Delta State, looking at the statement coming from no other but His Excellency Governor Sheriff Oboriwori, saying it's now time Deltans should see a different change, especially as all those issues of litigations are totally over, and his mind is totally on development of the state. Irrespective of whether he has started some before, but he feels the full concentration will be there now to deliver on some of major of the promises he made during his campaign. But anyway, we'll stay with it, and you do know we still need to talk about it as we also look at some areas Deltans will want this administration to do or do well on, especially as it concerns the issue of the dividends of democracy. But we still have him here. I'm talking of no other person but the executive assistant to the governor on our political matters. I'm talking of Chief Olori Magege. But what we'll do now is go on a break, get message from our sponsors, and we're talking about Benetta Gas. And when we come back, more discussion centered on the issue of governance in the state.
Oh, yeah, follow Uno Road, auto better quality. If you talk gas matter, oh, yeah, follow Benetta. Gas with the better quality. Benetta gas where they full rich man to Benetta gas. Delivery brother na Shapal. Benetta gas no mago mango. Benetta gas different type of gas cylinder. I got gas we go last you well. Na Benetta gas matter Benetta now do. Benetta gas service in a them they run. Na Benetta make you carry go.
For gas matter and home delivery, make you wire Benetta Gas Plant for 080-6745-7890 and 080-5904-7722. Benetta Gas Plant, the tequila of gas matters.
Well, we need to welcome you back, and because it does matter, and that's why we're looking at it. We're talking about the issue of governance in the state and how that can be achieved, especially with the issue of the court cases now finally over. Well, anyway, many will say it's about time, and more Deltans will be looking to see what will be the gains of those, especially as it concerns democracy, with that promises made by no other but Governor Sheriff Oboriwori himself, talking about the more agenda. But anyway, he's still right here and having more discussion as it concerns it. And yeah, before we went on the break, we talked extensively about the issue of the olive branch being extended by the governor to the opposition. And we'll talk about the issues of mending fences, because without peace and stability in the state, irrespective of how much you put into development, it will rarely be seen. And how much is this administration ready to ensure that peace does really remain, especially as it concerns the different political parties that had a very bitter one during the elections. But anyway, let's leave all of that. Let's come to the issue of development, because that's the basics of this discussion. Yep. And I want us to first go back to September of last year, when we had no other person but Chief Edwin Clark, when he said he's the convener of the Pan-Niger Delta Forum. And he said Governor Sheriff Oboriwori has started well with the awarding of some major contracts in Warri. But Deltans are worried with the decay of infrastructure caused all around the state, either from Ugeli to Patani, from Eka to Ibuzo, from Ole to Zoro, just to name a few. And I know you are not the Commissioner of Works, though. That I do know. But let's look at it. And this administration plan to deal with all of these challenges, especially as it concerns the issue of infrastructure. How really ready is this administration in delivering on that seems to be #1 priority as it concerns Deltans and the issue of development?
We've started very well. And we're using one of the best civil engineering road construction firm in the country to build our roads, our flyovers. So we started very well. But a lot depends on availability of funds. You can't run everything on debt.
Of course not.
There is a limit to which you can borrow money.
Yeah.
There's going to be a mix. Are we going to have tolled roads?
Tolled roads.
Tolled roads. What I mean is this. Users will be paying for...
Okay, toll. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Are we going to have that? A mixture so that we can have roads, we can have money to do more for many people. These are things that government will look into.
Look into.
Look into. But certainly every local government in the state deserves attention of governor and of government. And they will get it. They may not get it to what they want, but they will get it to what they need. What you want may not be what you need. We must understand that Delta State is a multi-ethnic state. So all these things will play a role in balancing the spread of the...
So we're not going to have it cited in only one local government, because that's the fear of many Deltans. That are we not going to only see it in Warri? Are we not going to see it only in Uwe, Efru? Are we going to have a total spread of this development all around the different local government or the major senatorial district of the state? The
governor has his eyes on 2027. So how well we do this tenure will affect our victory in 2027. That's number one. So we are politicians. There is always political considerations in almost everything that we do.
Yeah, play out.
People voted for us across the state.
Of course.
And Deltans are across the state. Whether they are Robos, Shakiris, Ijos, Igbos, Juanes, whatever. They need us. They need service of government. And they will all get. They will all get. So let's forget about concentration. Another issue is this. Uvia Warri is the commercial hub of Delta State. So the services that they need
to deliver,
the services that they need, that those metropolitan need, is completely different from the rural area.
Of course.
And because of the heavy usage of their infrastructure, the number of vehicles on Uvia Warri Road, they are not the same thing on a village road. So you expect a certain quality to their roads so that they could last longer. The traffic is also heavier in that area. So all these are factors that must be put in consideration in infrastructure. And infrastructure is not only road, hospitals, schools. You're not going to put a school that will house the facilities to house 20,000 students in a village with 5,000 people. You're not. So people must consider these things a lot in evaluating what government is located somewhere, locating here or locating there.
Okay. Well, anyway, well said. And still looking at the issue of infrastructure. Yes, we do know Julius Berger was called to execute the proposed construction of the flyover at the NRA Junction to Marine Gate, and also the expansion of the DSC and MPA Expressway from Efrun roundabout and to the state complex, and even the roundabout. Many called, or rather many will say it's initial gragra, if you make me say so, of having these construction giants be a part of it. But the question still do remain. Are we going to have more infrastructural development coming from the construction giant Julius Berger? Or are we going to have just that major one? Or what's your view as it concerns having contractors that will be really doing most of the job? Because that's where Deltans are really having that fear. We've seen many contracts or road awarded before now that just last only a year or two, and they're being washed away due to poor construction and also the fundamentals not truly followed. So are we going to still have that, or we're going to have a total departure from it?
There's a saying in my tribe: the food that will fill your stomach, you once you see with your eyes,
you know.
You know. We have started. Whether it's just what we are doing is just pure razzmatazz, only time will tell. But let us savor this sweetness of the moment. Let's give credit to the initiative of the governor in using concrete to tar a small road in Ugele. Concrete, the Palace Road. Let's applaud him for that. He is doing a road from Sapele Road through Agbaro to bust out at Ekrane Junction as a bypass when the DSE roundabout and all those flyover
comes into stream.
Let's applaud him for that. Let's enjoy the moment as we are expecting an improvement in the future. Let's not just concentrate on the future. When you are going to Lagos and you are concentrating your attention on only Lagos, you will miss the beauty of Sapele. You will miss the beauty of
Ore and Benin.
Of Ore. Enjoy the trip. What we have now is you are seeing roads that are being built with cement, with concrete. Enjoy that. Savour that for now. More are coming. Don't speculate. That's the work of the opposition. Don't speculate. Oh, they will soon abandon. They will soon this. Wait till they abandon before you criticize us.
Then what of the construction firms that will be handling this?
You see, Julius Berger cannot construct all the roads. They are mobilizing Julius Berger to his site cost a fortune.
Of course. We know.
Yes. So you don't expect Julius Berger to do all the work. Secondly, we also need to develop indigenous contractors. So the one that is being done in Ugele here is done by Oguma. Oguma is not Julius Berger.
Of course not.
So no, let me allay the fears of indigenous contractors. There is enough for everybody. Let's not worry about Julius Berger. But there are some jobs we believe that the best contractor to do it, given what we expect, is Julius Berger.
Okay. Well, anyway, let's leave that and come to another major one. I would have loved us to go to education, but one that's also paramount to many Nigerians for now, and especially Deltans, is the issue of security. You totally agree with me that the country seems to be on the edge, and I have every reason saying so. As much as many will say, well, the problems are only centralized in the northeast, northwest, and north central, and also, funny enough, in the Federal Capital Territory. But Delta is also having its own share of insecurity, and the issue of kidnapping is still rampage. The issue of armed robbery and all of that still has an ugly taste in sour one in the mouth of Delta. So let's look at the issue of security and what this administration tends to do to deal with it.
Banditry and herdsmen. We've drawn the line in Delta State. You cannot come from far off, from whichever country you are from, and you come and be raping our wives here, invading our land here. We do not have the yoke, and I say this, we do not have the yoke of personal ambition hanging on our head anymore. We do not have the yoke of vice president ambition hanging on our head. You come to Delta, you want to give us trouble, we will give you the trouble of your life. The mandate given to Governor Berewori is to secure lives and properties of Deltans. And he is not going to joke with that. If you want to try him, and then you will see what will happen to you. And if the security agents are not willing to help because of this or that, you read, I'm sure you read what Major General Danjuma Al-Kafi said. It's trending now on why the insurgency is still going on. The man has been retired, but he said a lot of things that we can't say here. If you come and try it here because you are a security agent, we will deal with you. Enough is enough. Men and women should be able to go to their farm without looking back. Men and women should be able to go to whatever they want to do without fear of some hoodlums coming to harass them. We'll deal with them squarely, squarely within the limit of, within the confines of the law. So I think we need to get that very much across. Then there is domestic, there is local, what I call domestic, of kidnapping.
Okay.
But that will be dealt with. Those doing the kidnapping are not, they didn't come from the stars or from the moon. It's a matter of revamping the security agencies. It's also supporting them with information. Also making sure that those who provide information are rewarded. But most importantly, providing meaningful jobs to our teeming youth. Because you must tackle security from what leads to insecurity. You must tackle that first.
Yeah.
Then you deal with those who have taken it as a job.
And a means of livelihood.
Means of livelihood. So security, leave that matter. Don't forget, Sheriff is a street guy. He's a street guy. You don't need to tell him about crime and what to do about crime. He knows what to do, and he will do it.
Okay, now let's go to the issue of education and look at that, because that's also paramount. If a state is well educated, it's more like you're solving half of the problems that are already embedded in that state. Because how well the people are educated will also determine if your policies, programs, and even aspirations will be well attained. Let's look at the issue of education. Yes, we will not mix words in saying, yes, the last administration did a lot as it concerns citing of tertiary institution across the three senatorial districts. But the question now remains, many are feeling it's more than just those institutions. The issue of teachers being in this institution is more of a challenge now because manpower will be needed to run that. So let's look at this administration plan as it concerns having that required manpower across primary, secondary, up to tertiary institution, and what those plans are to ensure that these schools are well manned by quality and also well-defined teachers.
We have just conducted recruitment of primary school teachers into our primary schools across the state. I think that addresses the question. To some extent, yes.
Yeah.
You're talking of recruitment of professors and lecturers into the various universities that have just been opened.
Of course.
Part of the previous government plan was to have individuals in the civil service who have requisite knowledge and experience to move to tertiary institutions. That is still ongoing. People are being recruited from the civil service into the universities to teach. You see, many of our universities have PhD programs, doctoral programs. That is where universities lecturers are recruited from. It is not an overnight job. It's not an overnight job. But we look at those who are Japan.
Okay.
Make teaching in the university attractive to them. Make working in the university as a beautiful alternative than going abroad to go and wash plates. That's an area that we need to look at. We also need to accelerate the production. I don't like the word production, but the production of doctoral or PhD holders in our universities. So we can now put them employ them in relevant situations. Yeah. We also have schools of nursing in the state. I think there are about 3 or 4.
Yeah.
There is one in Asaba.
Foma.
There is one in Wari. There is one in Eku. We also need to look into the admission of those schools so that qualified students are the ones that have been admitted. That is very, very important. We need to look into those schools to ensure that only the best students get admitted there, because medicine is not for the wishy-washies.
Of course not.
That's very, very important. So, secondary school teachers are being recruited. They are going to be recruited. All I'm saying is this: it is work in process, and we are solving them as we go along. Okay,
well, anyway, we'll talk about more of what this administration needs to do, looking at the more agenda, though. But I'll plead with you, we need to go on a break now. But when we come back, we'll continue our discussion, as we also will make it more interactive when we open up the lines and give you the opportunity to also state where you feel more attention should be paid to, and expectations, especially as a concerned Deltans, to governance, and knowing that most of the litigation, if not all, totally all, has gone. And the time to really change the narrative in the state is here. Let's go on the breakdown.